You are listening to the Smuggler's Galaxy podcast, my favorite podcast to listen to on long flights across the galaxy.
This is the way.
We're wanted men.
Welcome to episode 202 of the Smuggler's Galaxy podcast, your favorite Star Wars podcast for smugglers in the galaxy. It is episode 202. I get used to saying that this week. I'm Glen, and with me, as always, is Jason. He's not feeling well, so if he sounds like crap tonight, that's why.
Yeah, your back is going to be hurting at the end of this episode for carrying it. I'm sorry.
It's okay, Jason.
It's all you.
It's all me. So other than being not feeling well and sick, how's life treating you?
It's been busy.
Yeah.
My wife went down to Florida for the week. She's actually been gone for a little bit longer than a week. But she took Harrison down, and then Harrison flew back during the middle of the Delta, the flight stuff. And then the next day, Maisie flew down, my oldest. And so it's just been really weird.
It's always weird when people aren't home that you're used to being home.
Yeah.
And then you have to deal with dogs and animals.
But with my youngest, we watched Twister, the original, on Friday night, and then Saturday morning we saw the sequel, Twisters.
You have to go to the theater to do that?
Yeah, you had to go to the theater.
Oh.
Which is part of the reason why I checked to see if I had COVID. I'm negative.
Awesome.
Going around.
How was it? Was there a lot of people in there?
There wasn't, but it did really well this weekend.
Well, that's good.
And if you like the first movie, you're definitely going to like the second movie. It's got a lot of charisma, pseudoscience, excitement, monster movies like the first one. It's good.
Awesome. Did is it like it's not a shot, it's not a remake, it's a reimagining or something crazy like that?
They call it like a legacy sequel.
Oh.
There's one connective tissue right at the beginning. And it's not a character, but it's like it's the same universe.
Okay.
But there's no returning characters.
So it's like Force Awakens and A New Hope.
No, because you had returning characters in The Force Awakens.
Oh. I
don't know what it would be like. My brain's a little slow right now, but there is an example out there of a sequel that has nothing to do with the original, I'm sure. It's probably like isn't like the Halloween movies like that?
Maybe. Like the reboots, Halloween movies of
I don't know, man.
Yeah, whatever. Anywho, did you pick anything up this week, Jason?
Originally, I was going to say no, but this past weekend it just exploded with yes, yes, yes.
What'd you get?
Well, I haven't gotten it yet, but when Harrison and my wife were down in Florida, they did find an ATTE.
Right. Make sure you say it right.
AT?
I don't know.
An AT?
The thing with like the 6 legs.
Yes, they found that. I haven't seen that up here yet in Atlanta, but they did find it and they did pick it up.
That's awesome. You're training them in our ways.
Yeah. I kept getting photos from Harrison. You got any of these? I'm like, yeah, dude, I got them all. Thank you.
That's awesome.
But while they were at Hollywood Studios, they picked up the droid TC-1B. The silver C-3PO looking guy from episode 1.
The zombie one's not out yet, is it?
No, it comes out August 2nd.
Oh.
And then, so there's a zombie droid. It's just like a rusting droid with missing pieces. And I kind of dig the aesthetic there.
It took me a minute to figure out what it was because I was like, why is half the dome missing? But then it made sense why it would be a zombie.
Yesterday I did get why isn't this working? Yesterday I did get the Sith speeder, the Micro Galaxy one. I saw the Ghost, but I've decided to play the long game on the Ghost. And, if I can find it for $30, that's great. Then I have one to open and one to keep in box. But even then, it's like this stuff isn't going to be worth stuff. So
Yeah, I'm real
why get
tempted.
two?
Huh?
Why get two, really?
R- Exactly. I mean, I'm real tempted to play the long game on the Ghost too, because it does seem like they're getting 5 and 6 per store, or at least that's what I'm seeing on the app. So a $60 toy is not gonna. I mean, you'll have the first initial rush, but I bet we can wait 6 months and find it for.
Either 6 months, or I'll even do like the when they do like $10 off a toy of $50 or more. Target will run those promotions. I'll do something like that.
Right.
But
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm thinking it'll be like that for me with the Ghost, but I really want it, but $60 is I don't know. I
I just don't feel the urge to run out and buy it right now. I feel like I
well,
can wait.
yeah, well, this has to do with something I got. When you see a $60 ad for $17.
Yeah. Was it the only one they had?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd actually seen a Ghost a couple of days before it was released. And of course it's register locked. You can't get it. And because there was a lot of reports of people getting for like $2 or, under $10 or $25 or whatever. Because the people were just the
They're
people in.
overriding it, which means that it's a disaster for inventory at Target.
Right. Exactly. So I thought maybe that'll happen to me. And I got blocked. And then I went the next day, just to see if they wanted to pull it, and they pulled both of them. And I checked the AT-ATs, and they had an AT-AT for $17. So it's like I didn't need it, but for $17, I might as well pick it up, and I can do something crazy with it.
Yeah, I want to make a diorama because I have a couple snow speeders that are open, just waiting for an AT-AT to circle around. There it is. I can't see
Well,
because Zoom is making me hold nothing.
well, maybe you can get this one if I don't open it or whatever. I mean, it's an opener because the blister's busted on it, or
Yeah.
plastic or whatever. But
I did go down to Peachtree City and for work, and on the way down there, there's a Target in Ross that I stopped at, and they did have the new TVC Vader, Stormtrooper, and Luke Skywalker.
uh-huh.
And for whatever reason, well, Vader's a new Vader with a new number, so I picked that up, even though he looks like an old figure. The Stormtrooper I skipped because it's an old number. For some reason, I picked up the Luke. When I get to the cash register and self checkout, it says cannot find item. Ask
Oh
for help.
man.
So I asked for help, and the dude just rung them up for $7 each.
There you go.
So, but it's not my target, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's the Peachtree City people that have to worry about their inventory now.
Right. I thought, maybe when I did it, the self checkout was closed, so I couldn't pull that stunt, but oh
It,
well, I'll
it,
find it eventually. I'm not in that. I mean, it's an awesome looking ship, but I can just wait. I'll even pay like you were saying, $30 or $10 off or something, just to kind of
yeah,
save that. Or actually, I'm still waiting for it to show up on Jazzwares, because then I'll just buy it, because I have that um what's it called? Credit
right.
for Jazzwares.
And then I did go to Walmart too. I hit a lot of stores this week. When you don't have a wife, I
When you don't have to be home to cook
do
dinner.
whatever I want.
Right.
And so I did go out for a toy hunt Saturday morning, and I did find the new TVC Captain Rex.
Nice.
So I picked that up. And then, like I had mentioned, Maisie was down at Disney, my oldest, with some friends, and she FaceTimes me. She's like, "Hey, do you have this?" And you know that cup set, the Cantina set? It looks like Shag, but it's the Cantina characters, just all geometric shape. It's like my style. But all
Awesome.
that stuff in that line was on clearance.
Ooh.
Everything was 50. I got the plates. I got the serving plate, which is a bigger plate. I got the pitcher, and I also got the ears to go with that set.
Sweet. Was this at Disney?
It was at Disney, yeah. Everything was $50, 50% off, sorry. And it was just a steal. So I have the cups, I have the coasters, I have the Hawaiian shirt, the Aloha shirt that I wore at Rogue Fun. The only thing I don't have is the blanket, but I don't need the blanket.
Nah, who needs a stinking blanket?
So
So yeah, I'll rattle off everything I got this week. Well, it's been like 2 weeks since we recorded, it feels like. So my Canaan Kanan TVC came in. Um,
I thought you said my taint came in.
I was trying. I wanted to say Kanan, and it came out the Kanan and TVC got pushed together,
Oh my
so it
gosh.
was becoming a new word. And
It's a word. It's a word.
yeah, it's a word. Um, shoot, and then the Hallmark had their ornament premiere, so I got the Ghost and the Sabine and the Mando, um, Hallmark ornament. I haven't opened them yet. I don't know if that I need to be worried that I haven't opened them yet or not.
Huh.
Uh, I just been busy. I mean, because I was in Florida last weekend. So what else? Oh, I did, and then like I said earlier, I couldn't get the Ghost. I found the AT-AT, Micro Galaxy Squadron AT-AT for $17, and then I found the U-wing for like eight. You were saying they were half off, and I found one for $15. So for 15
Yeah,
bucks, that is an awesome ship.
it is. It's one of my favorite ships, and I'm glad they make that. I hope they make a TIE Striker to go with it from Rogue One. Jeez, for the rest of my life, I'm going to be messing up Rogue One and Rogue Fun.
Right. Yeah, I
Um,
hope they do that. I hope they do a TIE Interceptor. They're already doing the E-wing from what's it called, from Ahsoka. So I'm hoping they do the TIE Defender. That would be awesome.
I just sent you an image.
Yes.
We're gonna have to describe this. The micro was that all you picked up?
No,
We'll
well,
come back
we
to
can
my
come
image
back
then.
because I can talk about my
We'll talk about your
Florida.
stuff.
We'll talk about my Florida trip, and then that'll wrap up all that stuff.
All right.
So this
So
image you just sent me.
yeah, so this is the Blind Box Series 6 for Micro Galaxy Squadron.
Uh-huh.
And I was just incredibly bored by what they're offering with the blind boxes because it's just repaints. Nothing seems exciting. You've got another one of those. There's scout troopers of some sort, but it's painted green. You've got the Geonosis warrior on a speeder bike that we've already had 12 times.
Oh, have
It's
we had
repaint.
that? That was the first time I've seen that one, but
That's
maybe.
Dooku's. It's just been repainted.
Oh, the speeder bike, yes, but not the not the guy on it.
We've had the Geonosis before.
Oh,
A couple clone troopers on the same vehicle, just painted different color. Another battle droid on a STAP vehicle. This time the STAP is brown, not white.
ooh.
But it's just a lot of like, this is really boring and stuff that we've seen 12 times already in this line.
Yeah, and the stuff we praise this line for doing right, they're starting to do it like Hasbro
Yeah.
because they're doing the Armada series, and
Yep.
all it is repaints, a bunch of repaints. It looks like they may be remolds. I think somebody thinks the TIE Fighter may be a remold.
A little bit bigger.
Yeah, that's what she said. Anyway, uh, yeah, and I'm like, why are you guys doing? At least with the like you were thinking with the gauntlet, they could have put a different figure with it.
Just make a generic Mando to go with it. Then you can army build it. Then you don't have an army of Bo-Katans.
Right.
But
Yeah, I'm starting to get. We've all been starting to get concerned with this line for a while, and I think it's just all coming to fruition.
Hasbro did announce that they're re-releasing last year's Black Series Halloween Clone Trooper.
Yeah. Well, that was a badass looking clone
It
trooper.
is. It's the black one with the painted green skeleton bones on it. So they're also
See,
reissuing the Incinerator Trooper helmet.
huh? Seeing that stormtrooper with the clone trooper with the skeleton, that would be a
Yeah.
repaint. That would be cool to do because you could do that in a bunch of you could have done it in orange, done it in a bunch of
Yeah.
really awesome neon colors, and nobody would have got mad at Hasbro for that.
Nope. You could have done that in glow in the dark colors. You could have reissued a full size Black Series helmet with that pattern on it, and people would love it.
I probably would have bought that because that's a
See?
cool looking helmet.
See? Good idea.
Yeah. Jason, you should go work for Hasbro.
I'm good. I don't want to get frustrated with myself.
Right.
Um, yeah, and then Mandalorian and Grogu have apparently filmed some scenes. The principal photography starts in August,
Uh-huh.
but the word was they filmed some time-sensitive scenes, which makes me think that they grabbed Pedro Pascal in between The Last of Us and Fantastic Four.
And Gladiator. Or is that
That's already done. That's in the can.
oh.
So we don't have to worry about him filming that. But he'll have to step away from Fantastic Four to promote it, I would assume.
Right.
And then Yakface showed some leaks this week for Black Series figures. One of them is Savage Opress from the Clone Wars. It's Darth Maul's brother. And then the other one, which I am 100% in for, is Prince Caesar from Shadows of the Empire.
Dude, that I would be down with that. And I don't even want to do Black Series anymore, but Prince Seizure would be Siege, whatever his name is, would be badass.
Yeah, it's Shizor or Shizor or Xizor. Xizor. It's the
I would
medicine.
call him Mini Me.
So that's all the news that I had from the week. How's Florida?
Florida was fun. It was my wife's 25th class reunion. So I'm sorry, I'm trying to flip this image to send it to you. But so we went down there. We went down on Thursday for that. And we actually stayed above a brewery. Imagine that, Jason.
It's the last place you need to be.
Oh, it was the last place I need to be, considering they had 3 box, which is my favorite beer. They had 3 different versions of box, and the most high test one was like 10.2%.
Alcohol?
Yes.
Isn't that high?
Yes, considering a normal beer is like 6.
Yeah.
So
Are you still standing?
barely. So like that's where I spent most of my weekend, was at a couple hours, because then we'd gone by a cigar shop and picked up some good cigars, because like my wife's birth father actually owns a cigar shop, so he hooked me up with a bunch of cigars. I went and met him for the first time, so that was interesting. And so yeah, on Thursday night and Friday I sat at the bar drinking and smoking. So it was fun. And then we did the class reunion
Vacation.
for,
Drinking
huh?
and smoke. Vacation. Drinking and
It was
smoking.
awesome. I told her, I'm like, if this is what you want me to do at vacation, this is the setup I need. I need the setup. So then Friday night we did the class reunion thing, and then Saturday I got to go to Universal. She was like, I was kind of debating on it, and then because I wanted her to come with me, and then she was like, just go. Take I got to take my daughter's boyfriend to Universal. So that was like our first official hangout, was to Universal.
How how close are they?
They're really close. I'm like, oh, we're in trouble.
So he's like a FIA friend, not a fiance and not a boyfriend. He's a FIA friend.
Yes, exactly. Yes, he's right there. And then my son and his new girlfriend met us. So I got to spend time with my son, his new girlfriend, and my daughter's boyfriend. So yeah, Universal was awesome. And it made it even awesomer because my son and his girlfriend both work for Universal. And as we were like walking in, he was like, "Don't use your tickets I sent you yet." And he was like, "'Cause she's gonna send you tickets with express passes so that we can all use them." So we had express passes. And it
Nice.
was amazeballs having
Nice.
express passes for Universal.
Skip all the people. Look down on them as you pass them.
We did. I was one with the people for Velocicoaster,
I was one
because
with the
when
people.
we had with those passes actually gave us early entry, so we got in like a half an hour. I didn't realize so we got in like a half an hour early and beelined it to Velocicoaster, and Velocicoaster was only like 40 minutes. And I was like, you know what? Let's wait, because it'll take 40 minutes to get through the queue, and it's a queue I want to see again. And yeah, that is the most awesome and scary roller coaster at the same time. I love it, and it scares the crap out of me. I've never felt that way getting off a roller coaster, where you're just so scared to death and exhilarated at the same time.
Yeah, you have to bring your brown pants for that one.
You need a new pants. You need new pants when you're done with Velocicoaster. But I mean, as long and I even, because the way they designed it, because I even showed this to my wife because she didn't believe me. I mean, it pulls you out your seat, and you're 6 inches out of your seat. And I was like, there's no way. And I warned Kyle, my daughter's boyfriend, I'm like, it lifts you out your seat. Be ready for it. And then I found video. There's video, like the snippets on Instagram. And if you watch it, they send they're going through the corkscrew, and then you see the girl that's riding in it, and she's coming out of her seat. So it's
Yes.
like, what happens if it's on their Instagram. It's
Yes.
designed to do that. So that, and then we rode over, went to Haggard's, and we had like a 90-minute wait for Haggard's, and about halfway through it, we decided to jump over to the single rider line and rode it in like 30 minutes.
Well, why couldn't you use your fast pass for that?
Haggard's is the only coaster that doesn't have a fast
Oh.
pass.
Oh, you had to wait in line with the randos.
Yeah, I had to wait in line with the randos, but every other event, fast pass. And then
You just look at them and go like, "Did you even shower today?"
we did. Well, what's great is you don't even have to walk by them at Universal. They kind of usher you in a back door or something, and next thing you know, you're with everybody. And we're like, ha ha ha, we just cut out 30 minutes or 20 minutes or something. But yeah, that spoiled me having the fast pass it. And I like the way Universal does it because it's once per ride. And it doesn't matter, there's no timing, there's no nothing. You just walk up and say, here's my fast pass, or here's my express pass, and they let you right in. But Star Wars, Disney, you should take note. It was great.
Not when there's a profit to be made.
Well, dude, they charge $100 a day for that thing.
Well,
Per person.
They charge more per person during peak time, so they make more money.
Right. And you can get a better fast pass or express pass to where it's unlimited. And I think that's like $200 a day. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if I could, well, maybe,
I
but
hate
yeah,
it.
we never made, just to put a cap on the Velocicoaster. We never made it back to Velocicoaster. And if I did, I don't know if I would have ridden it because we'd ridden so many other coasters and other rides that,
Yeah, it's a lot.
It was a lot. Because we were on Green Got. Is it Green Gots, the one that the bank?
Yes. Yep.
So we rode that, and like on one of the last turns, my knee banged on something, and you're just like, "Oh, I'm getting old." But I don't know how I can barely fit on Green Gots. You fit on Green Gots, okay?
Yeah. Yeah, I fit on Green Dots.
Yeah, it's just your knees are like in your chest. It's very tight.
It's been a while though, but I
Yeah.
do remember that. I don't remember it. I don't remember being uncomfortable on the ride. I remember enjoying it.
Well, it's one of those where once you get going, you don't realize how uncomfortable you are just because it's a very constraining ride system. But
another one of those projector rides that Universal loves so much.
yeah, but it was cool. It's
Guys, what are we gonna do? Oh, get a projector.
right. Well, that's what we because my Kyle, his name's Kyle. He had never ridden Transformers, and we're like, dude, Transformers is, and he loves Spider-Man. I was like, Transformers is a clone of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And it legitimately, like up until Ravage, like in the first scene, Ravage jumps on your car, and you're like, that's freaking Spider-Man. It's the same, almost same exact spot, and you're like, yeah, it's a clone of Spider-Man. And
That's the reason why excuse me. Radiator Springs Racers hasn't come to Disney World is because it's the same track system as Test Track. And then Dinosaur is the same track as Indiana Jones, which is why they haven't brought that over yet.
but they're supposed to be bringing Indiana Jones over.
Indiana Jones is going to replace Dinosaur, so it's just the exact same thing, just stripped down.
Right. And from what I'm hearing, you are gonna really like Universal in a few years.
Because of Zelda?
Yep.
Yeah, Zelda's going to Lost Continent, so
yes,
I'll be there.
Yep. And that's what I was talking to my son. I'm like, it's a smart move because all they got to do is paint the buildings. And he's like, oh, it's more than just paint the buildings. I'm like, I know the interiors need to be reworked, but the building, it makes perfect sense. I mean, now I never played Zelda. I've played Zelda, but it has that feel if you could look at it, because it's the Eastern Mediterranean, I guess. I know Zelda's not Mediterranean, but it's the same.
No, it started off as like a regular medieval kind of thing, but ever since Wind Waker, they've infused like Japanese influence. So it's this really cool medieval / Japanese samurai kind of feel to it, and it's pretty awesome.
Right. So I got to see the preview center for Epic. And I'm getting more and more excited about Epic because it looks pretty badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we did the minions. They did have a minion shooter, and it is a cluster because you have no clue unless unlike like the shooters at Disney World where you're like two people in a cart, everybody is shoot on a moving sidewalk and you're shooting at everything with like 10 other people.
Oh, really?
So you have no clue what you're shooting at.
Oh,
You got to kind of figure out what your thing is and just go for it. But I mean it no, and then
banana,
huh?
banana.
Banana. But we also ate at the Minions Cafe and they totally missed the theming because they don't have the Minions singing. They have like one song out of five. The Minions are singing it. I'm like, they should have just sang everything.
Yeah.
Um, so I got to see the phone booth. Was that thing that you had no clue what I was in front of,
I knew what
even
it
though I know you
was.
knew.
What is this aging piece of technology you're standing in front of? Why are you showing everyone a phone booth?
It was cool, man. My son was just like, my dad's probably gonna cry, and I had to fight back the tears just because it was so cool. I know it's just a prop, and it was probably a prop from the Hollywood Horror Nights movie or play they did, but it was cool to be in that presence of it because there was a lot of Easter eggs in it. There was some Back to the Future Easter eggs in it. There was like all kinds of stuff because they had a couple of billboards on because they did a themed store that was just like a video slash arcade, video rental slash arcade from like our back in the day with the wood paneling and stuff. So yeah, it was awesome. They had a whole bunch of ET stuff, ET props in it, a bunch of old video cartridges, and they had the whole Back to the Future Save the Clock Tower on it. And I was able to get a lot of pictures from that. And I picked up a Back to the Future t-shirt, which I was pretty cool with. I wanted to pick up my wife some ET stuff, but she has it all, or she doesn't want it, or she's like, I don't need any more t-shirts. But whatever. And then I'm going to send you a picture.
Yeah, you never
Oh,
sent it to me.
I never sent it to you because I thought I flipped it, but it didn't flip. So here you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
Oh, you got a new tattoo.
Look at it though.
It's Grogu.
It's Grogu. I did a Get What You Get tattoo at Epic Inc. Or Epic Orlando tattoo.
You get what you get?
You get what you get. Yeah. So you have
Oh
no clue what you're
man,
gonna get.
that gives me a lot of anxiety.
Because when I pulled it,
I'd
I
be
was like,
so careless with your body.
but I have so many tattoos. It's great. It's fun. And look at that. I mean, that tattoo is awesome. So
Looks like he's in love with the female gremlin.
right. Well, that's why he put it there. He was like, look,
Okay.
him and Greta. But I was when I pulled it, I was like, doggone it, it's Grogu. And I'm thinking it's just going to be a boring brown and green tattoo. And the guy's like, dude, I got you. He actually recognized me when I walked in. I was like, man, I hadn't been here in like 3 years, man. And you know who I am. Um, and he was like, dude, I got you. I'm not going to give you no boring green and brown tattoo, man. We're going to do it right.
You got Grogu.
I got Grogu. So then he's like, next
Your
time you're here, you
favorite
gotta.
Star Wars character of all time.
I was like, dude, watch it be like Jar Jar or something. Yeah, I probably would have got it too.
Jar Jar's a little bit more interesting to look at.
Yeah. And then when he's done with it, he's like, man, I can run a lightsaber right down the front of your shin. I was like, next time I'm in town, man. So on the way back up, I was talking to my wife about our trip in October, and I'm trying to figure out a way to make it all work.
Oof.
And then my work.
Sheesh.
And then I get into work this morning and they're like, we need to talk with you about all your vacations. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I have all this stuff planned and you're going to be a weenie about it. But I think we're working it out. So we'll be fine. It'll be fine.
Well, do you have the vacation time?
I do have the vacation time.
Then give them the middle finger.
Right. Well, their big thing is they're like, oh, you can't have more than 5 days in a row. And it's like, I'm going on international trips.
Right.
Well, it's still in the States. It's like,
It's not like you're taking a summer project and you're going to get your PhD or you're going to go study abroad. You're going on vacation. You'll be back in 5 days.
Right. Or 7 days. And they're like freaking out. I'm whatever. But they said they'd still give it to me because I'm like, I already spent all the money. I'm going. I don't care. But yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
dude, we didn't
horrible.
talk. Okay, so we got two other things that we need to clear up before we get to Acolyte, or if we even get to Acolyte today, because I know you're not feeling it. Um,
I wrote my thoughts down so I can just read it.
okay, well, we got two other things we got to cover, but that we didn't cover. We finally got to meet Ted from Force of Course.
We didn't talk about that?
No, because we hadn't recorded since then.
Oh,
He was
we
here on
haven't?
Tuesday. No, he was here last Thursday, right? It was last Thursday.
I don't know, man. I was just pulling up the calendar to try to figure out my life here.
Hold on.
We didn't record on the 13th?
I don't think we talked about it, did we?
Maybe we didn't talk about it.
We know not have talked about Ted. Ted from
Anyways, yeah, Ted from the Force of Course showed up.
yeah, that was awesome. We finally got to meet him and see him and spend the evening. We may have talked about this. I don't know. Did we talk about it?
I think we did.
We might have. Well, then never mind. Ted, go buy some new pants.
What
So
was the other thing?
the ghost tour.
Oh,
That's even further back.
unfortunately, there were no ghosts on our ghost tour.
And the sad part of it is our buddy Jordan used to host that ghost tour, and we were driving with him. And we were talking with him about it, and he basically it's been like 10 years since he did it, and he repeated the tour verbatim, pretty much.
Well, at least the stories. Well, that's kind of weird then. If it's been that long and there's no new stories and there hasn't been any ghosts, and he was doing that thing for a year and a half and he hasn't seen any ghosts.
He's heard ghosts.
He's heard ghosts on his recorder,
Right, because the recording that they played for us was actually his recording.
the EVP, electronic voice phenomenon,
Right.
where you use a recorder and you ask questions. You don't hear it at the time, but when you play it back, you hear some ghostly apparition saying something like, "This building's on a graveyard."
Yeah. So,
But yeah, it was cool to learn a lot about the history of Atlanta and Roswell and the Civil War and how, when Sherman came, things changed, or how they prevented Sherman from destroying houses by just putting up a Freemason logo.
yeah.
Like, oh, save this one.
Right. This will be great.
But it was a good time. It's
Yeah.
just I wish there was ghosts.
Right. Me too.
I wish I saw ghosts on the ghost tour. I wanted my money back.
I doubt it. I wonder if there's a a clause in the contract that you can't if you don't see ghosts, you don't get your money back. There has to be
I've
because huh?
No, I'm sure there is, but they did say, like, the one thing that was interesting was that they did a whole tour with Girl Scouts, and the girls saw some little girl kind of approach them 3 times, and on the third time went through a gate, and apparently it was only the girls that saw it. They took off running down towards the town square, ran into oncoming traffic. The traffic sped off and like hit holes. Nobody got injured. But because of that incident, everybody now needs to sign waivers when doing the ghost tour.
Right.
But I've been on 3 or 4 ghost tours in my life, and I've yet to see any ghosts.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And I just wonder if it's actually true.
Well, and then your wife is like Little Miss. Let's kill the
Oh my gosh,
vibe.
she's I love her to death, except when it comes to the paranormal stuff. She's just a buzzkill.
She was Mrs. Buzzkill at that because it's like we went into a rose garden and they're like, it's just so humid in here. And she's like, yeah, it's because it's covered in 4 sides by trees. There's no wind that can get in here. Of course it's going to be humid. And it's just like everything. She just had everything she had to debunk. And then at one point I feel something pick me on my shoulder and I look at her and goes, that was you, wasn't it? She's like, yes, it was.
Yeah, you
I
have
let
some
it,
hair or fuzz or something.
dude, I have 3 dogs. I have fuzz all over me. I try to like,
She can't stop.
I try to like get rid of it, but it just does not go anywhere. And yeah, I let it go for a minute. I'm like, that was Shannon. That was Shannon. I know it was Shannon. And then your mind starts going, and it's like, Shannon, that was you, right? She's like, yes, it was me. So that's been our couple of weeks.
Yeah, no ghosts.
No ghost. I can't even
Sorry.
buy it at Target.
Yeah, they're $60 at Target. Just to finish up, I wonder if there's no ghosts. It's just haunted people.
Haunted people, maybe.
Yeah. Anyways, Acolyte.
Anyways, on to the finishing of the Acolyte.
Did you like the
Oh,
ending?
I think it was a very ballsy move to end it with that many cliffhangers. Cliffhangers.
Well, apparently it's getting a second season.
It's like finally we get to the end of it. I'm like, now it's getting good.
Yeah, the thing that I wrote down here is, Dear Star Wars, just tell a story where the characters' actions and decisions are all that matter. Stop building stories around mysteries because the mysteries are the least interesting thing. I'd give
Yeah.
the show a C minus or a D plus.
Wow, Jason. That's pretty
Just because
hardcore.
I thought it was uneven.
Yeah.
The stuff that I thought was interesting, they didn't focus on. They focused on this whole mystery thing, which just turned out to be kind of blah.
Yeah. Did the
And and it was predictable. I kind of called the ending when we were interviewing Narayan
yeah.
that
You
the Sith actually wanted Osha. They didn't want May. They were using May to get to Osha.
yeah, you called it ding dang, one off the bingo card. Even though that wasn't
What,
there.
what? Oh, I
It's
haven't looked at the bingo card in a while.
the acolyte will
We'll
actually be
finish
the
off
parent
that.
trap. The acolyte will actually be the parent trap of Star Wars.
Yeah, that was it.
I, it
Let's just
I
talk spoilers. Let's talk freely. So if you haven't watched it, move along.
yeah, I'm trying to think like as a whole. I mean, there was a lot of intrigue with this show, and then it just kind of fell flat, I think.
Because
I
like I just said, you can't build a show around intrigue. You need characters doing action, which causes other characters to get mad at that action or mad at the character, and they do something in reaction to that.
Okay.
You can't have intrigue and then be like, because like character motivations just get all clustered. We
Uh,
don't understand why Soul killed that woman, Anasea.
he killed her because he was scared.
That makes no sense. That's called murder.
Yes. Murder. There's been a murder in Savannah.
So that was my biggest thing. It's just the unevenness. If it was all about the Sith, if we were watching Manny Jacinto's character the entire time, I'd probably like this show exponentially more.
Right.
That would have been more intriguing to see just his story and his flashbacks and just combine the character of Main Ocean in one character. It had no consequence into anything.
Mhm.
Uh, if it had a redeeming factor for me, is that it played right into the Plagueis novels.
Right.
We got to see on that island, the unknown island, one character in shadow. We saw fingers come up and touch the walls, and they cut to an opposite angle, and we see a Mun, which is the character that Darth Plagueis was.
Right.
Darth Plagueis being Darth Sidious's master. And Plagueis had several apprentices, and his whole thing was the strongest will survive, and obviously he did because it was Sidious,
Right.
the one that destroyed all the Jedi. But yeah, that was the most interesting part. And I still don't understand why they were using the Kylo Ren theme unless this guy breaks off with Osha and he becomes the first Knight of Ren.
I think that's still a possibility because it felt like with when Osha had the helmet on, her power, she was a lot more powerful. And he had issues, he had trouble trying to take it off, and he actually looked like he got possessed for a minute.
But if, yeah, if there was one redeeming thing about this, it's that they've kind of folded in some of my favorite novel, Darth Plagueis, into canon because the book came out a year before they just wiped all the canon away,
Mhm.
which included this book. And so they're folding some of that in. So Darth Plagueis was Sidious's master. And Darth Plagueis was obsessed with trying to create life and extend his own life.
Right.
And so it's quite obvious why he's interested in Osha and May is because they were created through the Force and they were somehow split and conscious to the Force. So he's interested in that, which just kind of goes back to the Darth Plagueis novel and his obsession with extending life. And he actually had his master, Darth Tabenerus, I think, which was a Bith, and he was torturing him and trying to kill him, but also doing experiments on him and trying to keep him alive so he can keep himself alive. So I appreciate the show for folding that back into Star Wars canon.
Yeah, and I'm curious about the whole. It's interesting to see that Jedi don't know what they're doing and they're just as evil as everybody else. Because like the girl, what was the girl with the green head?
Um, Venestra.
Vanestra, she's covering her ass the whole movie, the whole season. And
Yeah,
blaming people that they can't defend themselves.
I think it's pretty obvious at this point that so she lost her Padawan to the dark side,
Right.
which is Manny Jacinto, the stranger,
What? No way.
Smilo Ren. And ever since then, she's been covering her tracks, trying to sweep it under the rug because there are forces outside of the Jedi who are trying to say that it's an old way of thinking, that the Jedi no longer serve any purpose. We're better off without them. And the one senator even said it's just a matter of time before one of you explodes and it affects the entire galaxy. And it's like ding, 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 Anakin Skywalker right there.
Right.
So his predictions were true and his concerns were valid. Um, so I like that. And Vanestra is just trying to hold on to dear life and preserve things. And I'm wondering if that's what she goes to tell Yoda, because I just don't want them to undo anything from episode one. And yes, they can have those looks and on the surface be like, yeah, the Sith have been extinct for 1,000 years, then look at each other and be like, oh crap. Yeah, that's a possibility, but I prefer it to be that Yoda, because we've got several stories with Yoda, and at some point Yoda should have said, "No, I knew for a while that the Sith were back."
Right. Yeah. And there I was watching, I'm trying to remember. I want to make sure I got this right, but I think there was somebody on TikTok had a theory that George Lucas purposely wrote the Jedi knowing that the Sith had been around for 1,000 years, and then he turned it to in episode one, and then gave that information to Dave, and then Dave gave it to the showrunner, the Acolyte, and let her explore that.
I don't know.
I think that's giving. I mean, I do know George Lucas created this, but it definitely, I think, gives it to maybe give. Do you think it gives George Lucas a little bit too much credit or no?
Yeah, I do. Although I'm sure he knew. I mean, he was writing this thing, so he knew that the Sith had been around the entire time.
Right.
The thousands of years. Yes, the Sith were in the background doing their thing, getting stronger, learning new dark arts. And it wasn't until things got serious with Plagueis and Sidious that the crap really hit the fan.
Right.
But and I also should mention that yes, Darth Plagueis' name was not used, so there's a good chance that's still not Darth Plagueis. That's just Darth Bucky's. I was trying to think of the darkest thing I could think of in that moment, and Bucky's
Right.
came to mind.
Oh no, Bucky's. It'll be a giant Bucky's.
Darth Bucky's.
Yeah, I did. We did stop at Bucky's on the way down. We didn't do it on the way back
Surprise,
up.
surprise. But then the end credits of Venestra talking to Master Yoda was a nice cliffhanger, but I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, the mystery's over, so maybe we could just tell a straight story for season two. We don't have to worry about character motivations. We don't have to worry about flashbacks.
Mhm.
Maybe it's just a straight story where character actions affect things and it matters, and that's the motivation for other characters. It's not like, for the sake of this story, I must stab you now.
I will say that I was a little upset because it was going to be a murder mystery, Star Wars murder mystery, and it was none of that.
Yeah, it wasn't the X-Files.
It was not any, I mean, it had, I was trying to feed it and give it some X-Files feel, but it was nothing like the X-Files.
No, and that's why I think I came down harder. I mean, yeah, it's unfortunate my expectations played against the final rating that I gave it, but it's got some good stuff and it had some slow stuff.
Yeah. I mean, all
Character
in all,
motivations were just like even Torben and his whole anxiety thing,
yeah.
like I gotta go kill them. I gotta go take care of this. I gotta get off this planet.
Right. I just want to go home.
Just chill, dude. What the hell
R-
are you a Jedi for?
Right.
And it's
It-
not like it's his first day out either. This he's been here for a while.
right. They've been on that planet for a while, and yeah, you're right. It's like, why are you doing that? And it I don't know. It kind of felt like it was showing him being impatient. They showed a lot of flaws in the Jedi, and one of him was, the impatience and the anger and the stuff and the covering their own butts. And um it was good to see the Jedi are flawed, I guess,
Yeah.
and they're not perfect because they were in the rest in all the other Star Wars Jedi are risen up, and you got to see a little bit about backstory. But I still think we need a really freaking gritty Star Wars, and I was hoping we get it with this, and we didn't.
I think Andor's as close as we're gonna get to something like that.
Yeah. Do you? I know I think we've talked about this in person, or maybe not. I mean, how do you feel about like an R-rated Star Wars?
I don't know. It feels like violence for the sake of violence because it's not gonna be sex.
Right.
And it's going to be like swearing, and it's like Star Wars did Star Wars better without
Right.
needing all that stuff. So why bother? It's just going to be like for the sake of doing it. Let's get edgy,
Right. I mean, it was, yeah, because you
and
had
it's a
Daniel
gimmick.
Craig, huh? Is it a
It's a
gimmick?
gimmick. Sorry, I keep talking over you.
No, you're fine. You said you weren't going to talk a lot
I
today.
know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But no, you're right, because Star Wars had their own curse words, and I guess you're right. I mean, it did. I think this had some pretty decent violence in it, or just like violence we hadn't seen before in Star Wars, which was nice. But it's not, I don't want them to do like The Boys, because The Boys is violent just for being violent.
Yeah.
And it's just, we're going to do it to shock you and see what happens.
Yeah. There's shock value. It's not for story value.
You're right.
But
Um,
yeah, I mean, I'm still looking forward to new Star Wars. I did enjoy watching it with my daughter, as I said, every other week. And I did show her the Darth Plagueis action figure that I had from the Black Series line of 3.75. He does have a figure.
nice. What is the book? Is it just Dark Plagueis?
Darth Plagueis, yeah.
Okay. I was trying to look for it the other day, see if I had it, and I couldn't remember. I didn't know if it was called something different, and I couldn't find it.
No, it's just called Darth Plagueis. It came in like 2012, I think. And then 2013 they wiped
Right.
out the old canon. But
Freaking
yeah, it was weird that Darth Plagueis was just hanging out in the caves watching them the whole time like a creeper. And I didn't like the ending either, holding hands. Like that's not very Sith-like.
Right. It's like, are you guys gonna become like a couple now and like breed little Sith?
Little baby Sith.
Little baby Sith. Look, it's a little
Vera,
baby Sith.
Chuck, and Dave.
Say that again.
Vera, Chuck, and Dave.
What's
It's
that
from
for?
when I turned 64.
Oh.
They're talking about having little kids.
Oh, gotcha. It's a Beatles
Sorry.
reference,
It's a
people.
Beatles reference.
No, yeah, that whole holding hands thing, it was a little weird. Yeah, the Yoda pre cameo. It's like, you really waited till like the last 30 seconds of the show to show Yoda.
Yeah, they did. They did it.
Freaking freaking
It
and freak.
could have been better.
It could have been better. I mean, I think if that Yoda would have been in there, it could have been a little bit better. I
Yeah.
mean, I understand why they didn't, because they wanted to show new storylines, and then people would be like, "Why is Yoda in there?" Because
Well,
700
Yoda's,
years old,
yeah, he should be 700 years old at that point.
or nine? No, it's 900 years old.
800? 800 years old?
How old was
Because
he when he died? He was 9, right?
900, when 900 years old you reach, you look as good. And you go back, what, 30 years? So I guess he's like 750 years or something. I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
not good at math. He's green. I know his color.
You can do his voice.
Yeah, when I'm not sick. I don't
Yeah.
really feel like doing it right now.
Anywho.
But yeah,
Yeah, we'll have to
that's
have your daughter on because I want to hear her reaction to it one day.
she loves it.
Yeah.
She loved the show. So
Well, and truthfully, I mean, because when I was getting my tattoo, I was talking about with the tattoo artist because he's a big Star Wars head too, and he's finally come to the realization. He's like, it's not for us anymore. He's like, I have to watch it through my son's eyes because my son is just like, oh my God. When something cool happens, he's just like, that's awesome. And
which
he's
is
like,
fine.
yeah,
But I highly encourage Lucasfilm because I know they're listening right now. Kathleen, listen, Miss Kennedy, let's break this down for a second. I get what you're doing. You're trying to get in a new audience. That's fine. That's
right.
great. Bring in the new guys. But you could introduce the new guys to the old stuff by making new content for the old stuff. So that way you don't have to remake Star Wars.
Yeah.
You just make Tales of the Cantina if people want to know more about the Cantina.
Dude, you could have tied all that crap together and
You
maybe
can
they
go
would have
watch.
sold more on the Cantina.
Yeah.
I do have a thought on the Cantina here in a minute.
All right, what is it?
So somebody had said, because they're bringing it to San Diego Comic-Con. They're bringing the Cantina model to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yes.
And I think Blue Milk, Yak Face, one of the Instagram accounts was saying, why don't you open it back up since you're bringing the model to San Diego Comic-Con? Open it back up for one more day. See if you can get the
That
next
was Yak
tier.
Face.
Or it might have been Yak Face.
That'd be unprecedented. Although with one of the Transformers, it was like the third HasLab, and Cookie Monster just failed, and this had failed, so they added more time, and then it funded.
Right.
So they could do something like that, I suppose.
Yeah.
But then again, it's just going back to that corporate greed crap.
Yeah, but then they want to get the next tier. I don't know. Yeah, the more I talk to people, I think everybody's kind of in the same boat with the Cantina, that it was just too big, too much money, no floor, no real it I want to see it in person and maybe I'll regret not getting it, but it kind of, looking at the pictures, it kind of did have a cheap feel to it, as far as the walls go.
Yeah.
But I think they should have done more with it, more figures, more. I don't know necessarily figures, but I think they could have done more not deco, but
I hope with San Diego Comic Con we get some sort of Cantina retro collection announcement. That'd be really cool. So that if people wanted to staff their bar with retro or vintage figures, they can do that
right.
to go along with their Hammerhead, Snaggletooth, Greedo, and who's the fourth one? Walrus Man. You could have these guys.
Yeah. I think that'd be cool. I mean, because they're still doing that with the sail barge, right? They're still making stuff to
Yeah.
fill it.
Why did they make that retro collection for the Acolyte, but they didn't include the Stranger?
That I do not know.
That's just weird to me that he's essentially the main villain, but he's not on there.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I just want to say to you, thank you for listening to the Smugglers Galaxy podcast. If you could, please leave a like and a 5-star review of the show anywhere you listen to podcasts. If it's allowed, it really helps us out and points people to our show. You can follow us on social media. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Not Twitter. Jeez, I got to delete that. And YouTube. I feel like Ron Burgundy right now, just reading whatever's on the prompter and messing up.
Right.
Send us an email or message us. We love feedback and we love to make you part of the show. Our email address is smugglersgalaxy@gmail.com. Thank you to Alfonso Riviera for the Smugglers Galaxy logo. And thank you to Levi Waterhouse for the music. People collect for the love of it. Hashtag vote with your wallet. Sabine will be on next week. Pass on what you've learned. Be a positive force in the collecting community.